The 12A podcast presents Viewer's Choice Review.
We opened up to everybody on Twitter and Facebook asking them for a viewer choice review movie. And we let you guys pick all kinds of movies. And we stopped on Friday night. And then we had to find out which of those movies we could find on either Hulu Plus or Netflix for us to actually watch, which some of your suggestions were really good. I looked up the one that Renee on Twitter had sent called In America. And it actually looked like a decent trailer, and I thought, man, I really want to watch it, but I couldn't find it on Netflix or anything. So,
yeah, In America, it's one of those movies that I remember talking about in our screenwriting class. So it actually might be pretty decent. I don't know.
Right. So anyway, love it or hate it, what's going to happen here is Jeff and I have both watched and reviewed one of your movies, and we're going to review it. One of us is going to review it like we loved it, the other like we hated it. Whether that's true or not, we could have both hated it or both loved it, but we pretty much had to, draw straws, flip a coin, pick which one's going to have to love it and which one's going to hate it, and we're going to have to argue our points, and hopefully for your entertainment value.
Yeah, and again, feel free to comment on this. You can let us know if you thought one of us was being honest, if you thought one of us was being disingenuous. I think it would be fun. I think it would be fun to find a movie that maybe Steve loves and I hate, but we flip it around and you have to do the
hates, and you have to love it. Yeah.
But you never know, because I think with some of these, we just want to try and keep it ambiguous. And, like Steve said, maybe, one of us is being honest. Maybe one of us isn't. Maybe we're being completely honest.
Right.
But we want your guys' comments and feedback, whether you think we're being disingenuous or if you would like to see us do a particular movie in particular, or you have any suggestions or like that. So again, we always look forward to your guys' feedback on this.
All right, so we broke it down, and our choice was kind of a pretty much the one that we had seen before, because we couldn't find everything on Netflix, and so this one we could find was The Princess Bride. Which was written by William Goldman and directed by Rob Reiner. And this is an old movie, 1987. I think just recently they had some new stuff on their 25th anniversary.
Right,
of this movie.
yeah, I saw that.
I thought this was a perfect pick just because it's the 25th anniversary of it. So, you want to go first, or you want me to? Or
why don't you go first?
All right, I'm ready for my argument side.
All right.
Okay, here we go. I loved this movie. I love fantasy. I love a good story. I have ties to this movie that go back to 1988 when I first saw it as a kid, and I wanted to be these characters. I knew the girl who was Buttercup, and I knew who Humperdinck was, and I could still tell you what his name is, but I'll do it off the air, not recording.
You mean like in your own real life?
In my real life.
Okay.
And we would play in the playground outside of this church we went to in Vista, California. I mean, I still remember this so vividly. Okay? But from a filmmaking standpoint, though, I love everything about this. William Goldman wrote this book for his daughters, and his daughters asked, as the story goes, what do you want me to write about? And one said princesses, and the other said brides, and so you got The Princess Bride.
Right.
And so this story is what he told his daughters. And so I love that in this movie, the grandfather is telling the story to his sixth grandson, and it's the story unfolding in the grandson's mind. And every once in a while in the movie, they stop at this point. It's like, oh, there's kissing again, or when she gets thrown overboard, and is it getting too scary for you? And that you go back to reality, but then you go back to the fantasy of it. So I love that story of the grandfather telling the grandson these stories and passing on this great story. But the adventure in this, and this is even like with the Goonies and stuff, this is just such a great adventure when you're a kid, but also a romance. And I know when I first saw this was at that age where I was totally in love with this girl. But even now, my niece, Dinah, who is 10 years old, loves this movie. I mean, this is like a movie for generations because it's got the sword fighting and the romance and love. And it's got these ROUSs. Everything works out in the end. There's a really good soundtrack. I own the soundtrack. It's probably in my CD player right now. So
I remember when we were in high school listening to that. So.
Yeah. So I don't find anything wrong with this movie. I would probably put this movie as my number one go-to movie if I just need a feel-good movie. Like good memories, good story. I will laugh. The romance. I wanted to be Carrie Elwes's character, in this. I wanted to say "as you wish" to a girl. Everything about that. So, all right, my sappy 10 thumbs up. This is a great movie. I did look this up though when I knew we were going to talk about this, and in 1987. The biggest this movie opened was like 3 or 4 weeks into its play, and it had only done $4 million or something like that.
It was pretty bad.
It was really bad. It was for the whole year, I think it was the number 51 or 48 movie overall.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know what this says about society, but the number 1 and number 2 movie, the number 1 movie was 3 Men and a Baby. In 1987,
Steve Guttenberg?
Yeah, with Steve Guttenberg. yeah, in 1987. So a little off topic there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess every decade we had some horrible movie that just why did we?
Only in the 80s would Steve Guttenberg beat Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All right, so there you go. That's my 2 thumbs up. Great movie, can never go wrong. Safe to watch with anybody. I would watch this with my grandmother. I watch it with my 10-year-old niece. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I feel bad because I know this is sort of the quintessential movie for so people, and I loved it when I was a kid too. But the movie just has not aged well. It's really really if you try and separate your childhood memories from this, the movie really did not age well. And the only thing that really kind of held out is it's really quotable. So it's got a lot of these really great little kind of one-liners, like the funny way he says marriage is what brings us together, or as you wish, or
anybody want a peanut?
Yeah. I know there were great lines, and they're brilliant lines. But other than that, I mean, the story doesn't really hold up, and there's a bunch of little things that don't hold up as well. That aren't as big, like the sets. Like you would never make a movie. Like 90% of the movie is outdoors, but it's all built on a soundstage.
It was a lot of it was filmed in England too.
Yeah, little pieces here and there. But like the one I keep thinking about is a sword fight with Inigo Montoya.
Yeah,
it looks like a high school production. It feels like
they did, except for the flip. They did all of their own. They learned that sword fighting though. And except for that flip, they did all their own stunts in
But I don't want to know that they did their all stunts. I want it to look really cool, and it just kind of looks like a high school, production. So you set aside the cool line, and the other thing too is some of the acting is really over the top, cheesy. The little bald guy playing way over the top. Andre the Giant was adorable as a big giant, but he sounds like he has cotton balls stuck in his mouth the whole time. And here's the other thing that I think is really annoying, especially in terms of the aging of this movie. Once you've seen Carrie Elwes in Robin Hood Men in Tights, it's really, really hard to go back and take him seriously in that movie. He just looks a lot cheesier in that movie, and he does kind of play over the top. And my last point, and this is the big thing for me, and I remember even when I was younger feeling like there was a disconnect, like I'd been betrayed. Okay, so you and I have done improv, right?
Yep.
So in improv, there's this rule where if you create this reality, then whoever's on stage with you has to agree
with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
if I say
and.
yes and. So if I say there's a cat, Steve can't go, "You're stupid, Jeff. That's not a cat. That's a walrus." You can't because you betray
it's
the
cheap
reality.
joke. It's
Right. And to me, that's what happened when Wesley dies. Right. So he dies. We're told he's dead. There's no pulse. He's not breathing. And then they take him to the miracle workers. Oh, he's not dead. He's almost dead. And it's almost like what it kind of feels like is William Goldman painted himself into a corner, and then he didn't know what to do. So he brought in miracle workers to kind of bring him back from dead and kind of half-baked this kind of kooky idea that, oh, he's not dead. He's almost dead. So it's almost like it was forced. It just felt really, really forced. So I'm sorry. It was a fun movie when we were kids, and it still has some kind of fun lines to say. But in the end, it's really too over the top, and it is forced. It's forced, and there's no flow, and the actors are too over the top. It's just, it hasn't aged. I'm sorry, it hasn't aged.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Well,
sorry for ruining your childhood memories. I apologize, everybody. I apologize for ruining your childhood memories, and if you enjoy watching it, you can keep watching it the way you want. If that makes you feel
don't
better.
invite Jeff over.
Just don't invite me over.
He's gonna boo on it.
Right.
Whatever. Well, thanks a lot. The rest of our podcast is gonna be pretty awkward since we're obviously in a fight now, and we disagree so wholeheartedly on this. I can't believe you would say that. I even have. I'm gonna pull this up real quick, and I'm gonna let me turn the volume up real here. This is how much I love this movie. Is
that the trailer?
No, but the trailer is cheesy. I'm going to admit the jazz.
Yes.
Did you watch that trailer?
I did.
For my taste, okay, that I'll admit that was cheesy.
And that's probably a big reason why it did so poorly that year. If look up the trailer on YouTube, it is a really bad trailer.
Yeah, we'll have to put a link up on our site about that. Yeah, but here, this is.
We need a miracle. It's very important.
Look, I'm retired. Besides, why would you want someone the king's stinking son fired? I might kill whoever you want to make the miracle.
He's already dead.
He is, huh? I'll take a look.
I mean, that's hilarious. How do you say? I won't continue arguing with you, but it's just a funny line. Because here's what, from an improv standpoint, yes, the no of he's dead, but he said no, he's not dead. But then he built onto that with "I'll take a look," because what's his name, Mandy Patinkin, he didn't let that stop him from being dead. He still tried to fight it. Whatever, Jeff. Whatever. Let's just move on.
The 12A podcast is released every other Wednesday and distributed on the Four Eyed Radio Network. To learn more about the podcast, check out 12aproductions.com.